part where we explain the results of a survey that it's the next step, the first step that we did in the project. So we developed a survey, a questionnaire to send to youth workers to ask several questions about youth work, about digital youth work, about the pandemic, and what problems do we find in youth work activities, and so on. So I want to share a presentation. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So the results of the international report, because we did several questionnaires for each national country of the project and then an international. So this is the international results with all of the answers taken account. So the profile of the respondents, in total we had 247 responses. They were, most of them were youth workers working in an organization. They were part of organizations, but there were several profiles. And these things that you can see in the right part are the target groups that the youth workers have. Okay, so there were some about youth with disabilities, youth with fewer opportunities, vulnerable youth, youth from rural areas, and most of it students. Then we asked some questions about youth participation, and there were different answers. For example, in the question, encouraging youth to attend youth work activities is often difficult. The most responded answer is neither agree nor disagree. In the question, youth are often not engaged in youth work activities even if they attend. Some people disagree, others neither agree nor disagree. So there is no so much consensus, but in the next one, the rate of attendance in the activities has decreased since the beginning of the pandemic. Most people strongly agree. So here we have a clear answer to this. So the COVID pandemic has affected negatively to the youth work activities. Then about access, we asked if youth access to youth work activities has been negatively affected by the pandemic, and most people answered strongly agree. And then on the other hand, some youth have found it easier to participate in youth work activities at a distance rather than face-to-face. The most answers are neither agree nor disagree or agree, because there are some people who, because of the distance, because of accessibility, they have found more accessibility, but other, on the contrary, the other. So, and then we asked some qualitative questions also. We asked about what problems we found as youth workers for the participation of youth, how to engage people. And the most answered, it was motivation. Motivation, it was the main issue. Also, we had mental health, isolation, the future prospects, obviously affected by the pandemic. Then we also asked about mental health, and there was agreement that the youth that are participating in youth work activities often suffer from psychological issues such as anxiety or depression. And they also agree that they have increased, anxiety or depression have increased since the beginning of the pandemic. So about the situation with youth work, most people disagree that youth work is given enough attention in their country. This is from all of the countries, so we can see some issues here with the attention that we give to youth work. And then they also disagree that youth workers are sufficiently supported. Then we asked about tools, because this is what the project is about. And before the pandemic, the most used tools were face-to-face activities, but also a lot of different tools such as games, art, workshops, theater, debates, outdoors activities, sports. And then we can compare this to most used tools during the pandemic. The most used tool also always it's Zoom and Teams, always digital tools, webinars, Mentimeter, Canva, Skype, the G Suite, social media. So this has changed a lot since the pandemic. And then for the last question, we had some pros and cons of an online youth work. So the most answer, it was about the reach that we have with digital youth work, that we can reach a lot of people, but we also don't reach those who don't have access to digital things and connection. And also this is a big problem about connection. So they mentioned accessibility, motivation, time, digital overload, digital skills, that is free. So there are a lot of pros and a lot of cons. So when you download the handbook from the webpage of the project, you can see more information about what was the real response to this survey and what are the conclusions. Thank you. I will leave the floor now to Maria, my colleague from Spain.
Hi, my name is Maria and I'm a training student in Spain. Now we are going to do a little activity. So I'm going to share first my screen. I will ask you all to pick up your phones and go to this page, www.menti.com. And when you enter the page, I will ask you to copy this code that appears here on the top of the screen. I will wait. I think we are all.
Sorry, it's not working, the code. Or it's maybe my mistake. On Mentimeter, no, there's no work.
It works. I think.
It's working for others.
Try to share.
For me, it's working.
Chat.
I don't know, but yeah, it tells me it's not working. I don't know if it's visible. You see the red part, basically it's advising it's not working.
You
Like
don't
for me, it's working.
Spaces.
Here is working. Okay.
Don't put the spaces on the.
No, I'm not putting. But
Maybe if you enter again and try it another time.
Yeah.
I think we are all in. I will start. So this is the first question. What are the 3 electronic platforms that you mainly use since the pandemic? And you have to write the 3 electronic platforms that you used during the pandemic. I'm going to go to the next question. And what kind of electronic tools do you use? I don't know why it didn't appear on the first question, the results. Maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. So as we can see on this question, these are the types of electronic tools that are all gloved in the toolkit that Candelas is going to show you next. But before, I want to go to back to the other question. I want to, I don't know. I don't know how to see the answers.
Maria, I think that if you press the S on your computer.
Yeah. Now. Thank you. So, as we can see in this question, Zoom is one of the mainly tool that we use during the pandemic because this tool allow us to see face to face, and it also gives us a lot of advantage. So we can communicate with each other, we can see each other, and we can also share our worries and our stories too. And now I'm going to give the word to Candelas.
Thank you, Maria. So now, as Maria said, that was the different elements that you can find inside the toolkit. So I'm going to share my screen. Do you see it? Yes, okay. So in our website, you can find, as Rocío said, first the research, and then inside the same document, you will find the toolkit with this classification that we created. First of all, we explain a little bit how the toolkit works. Then we did the classification for some activities for online meetings as the Zoom command color that we did before with TAPES. So these are kind of activities that it doesn't matter that we are doing this online and that we cannot touch and that we cannot be in a presential way. We still can connect and do some activities for our online meetings. So that are one type. And then we have also organizational and interactional tools, creative or presentation tools, tools for quizzes and feedback, gamification tools, and streaming and recording tools. So as we did since the pandemic, the educational sector has suffered lots of changes because of social distances. So these are some tools that you can apply in your activities in order to make them more international. It doesn't matter that they are online. So first of all, some activities for the online meetings. This spreadsheet art, that it's a game where you put an image here, like this unicorn, and then you get the colors from that image and you put them inside the same spreadsheet. And they are related to a number. So the activity is about telling a group to copy this image only using the number that is connected to the colors. So in another different sheet here, you give the group like 10 minutes, for example, and they have a competition about how fast and good are they going to repeat the same image that you gave them. So you can do this activity, for example, with a logo from your association or with different images related to the project that you're working on. And it's good when you want to simulate a competition situation, for example. A different game is Can You Hear Me Now, which is a good game for team building and cooperative activities, where you put a person that is going to get an image. So if you click here, you will go to the page, this page that is a random picture page, where you get this image, for example, and if you are the person that is selected, you are the narrator, so you have to describe the image and the rest of the group have to do a drawing similar to that image. And this has to do a lot with communication, so it's kind of good for training the communication among the group, especially for that person that is describing, but also to do the good questions from the group for the description of the image. So these two are examples of activities that you can do online in a video conference like this or in different activities. Then you have organizational and interactional tools, which are, for example, Google Meet, that we have talked about it, and when Maria saw us the Menti is quite used by everyone. So Google Meet, as you all know, it's a video conference platform where we can all together gather there and talk and do some meetings for our organizations. And inside of it, you can find also activities such as Jamboard or Google Calendar. So some different platforms can work together inside of it. Then, for example, Teams, that it's a different one communication platform, and lots of them that you can find here inside. So you can find all these tools in our website in the toolkit. I explain like one of each so that you can see. So then you have the creative or presentation tools. For example, Wix, that it's a platform that allows users to create websites. So with these websites, you can also use lots of colors, images, create some buttons, you can choose a template and then put some images, texts, and you can represent whatever you want as an international way to apply in your activities. Or for example, Jamboard, if you want to do some activities like collaborative work, at distance, you can use Jamboard with your participants and then ask them a question. And then in these little papers, you can write whatever you want. Canva, for example, is a platform that is used for graphical content, like to create some images, presentations, videos. And then here you can find lots of these creative platforms. Also, you can find tools for quizzes and feedback. This, for example, is Socrative, is Kahoot, which all of us, I think we know that it's a quiz game where participants give their answers to some questions that are demanded. And you can do like a game for which is the one who is winning because of getting right their answers. Or Menti, which is the one that Maria also saw us before. So Menti, for example, is good if you want to do some kind of survey, because then you got like a graphic image about what everybody is thinking on the question. And then here inside you can find different ones. Inside the communication tools, you can find Geniali, which is a web-based tool, which you can create presentations, infographics, interactive images, video presentations, and materials for your games. So you can do like playing a game inside this platform, and it is good for gamification activities in order to do it online. So here inside Flippity is also like a competition game that you can create. Online bingo. Also, last of all, we have the streaming and recording tools. So Twitch, for example, is one of the most used tools of this kind. And inside you can do video games live streaming videos.
Grazie mille, amore.
And I think that's all inside the, yep, and that's all inside our toolkit. So inside you can search for them and just take a look and get some inspiration of it for applying to your usually activities. Yeah. So now I pass the word to Euphemia.
Thank you, Candelas.
Thank you very much, Candelas, for the presentation. I'm Gianluca. I also work with Associazione Eufemia, based here in the province of Turin. And now in the second half dedicated to the tool, we would like also to listen to your stories, your experiences, and the practice that you also developed throughout this last and a half year at least, but also maybe from before. So just as an input, I will share one tool, and I will now share my screen so you can actually have a look at it. It's one of those that was mentioned before in the Menti that we had, but there were also many interesting, including, for example, one like Twitch, that maybe I'm inviting this person that brought Twitch to introduce it, and also to share what kind of use you can make of that platform. And you know, for any platform that you have in mind, anything that you have started using even before the pandemic, if you want to share, then please just raise your hand in Zoom, either physically or on the button. You can actually raise your hand here, and in a couple of minutes also to share some of your experiences and how you have been dealing with these tools and what kind of use have you made with that. I will go very quick to share this tool as we think it also has a nice opportunity to do different kind of activities. So it's a tool that you can adapt, and you know, it gives chances to interact with participants in a lot of different ways. Many of you maybe know it. It's Mural, and this is actually the example of one of the activities that we did in the last month. But we kind of try to bring this activity more as a getting to know each other energizer when we start working with a new group. Mural basically is this digital library, and it really allows you to use different templates and to do different kind of activities, from brainstorming within your team when you're planning a new activity, a new project, or dividing tasks, or having a timeline, for example, and you always want to have a very visual dimension. So it is something that a lot of people can actually relate with because they want to have something that they can see and that is also interactive for them. In this particular case, we use it the first time we were meeting with this group from the Alpine region, and very basically we asked them to share a movie or a book that inspired them. So they have all these functions here on the left side of the screen. You can see all these buttons. You can put, for example, a post-it, and you can choose the color of it, the shape of it. But for example, you can look for an image for whatever reason. And let's say I'm just looking and downloading as a very Italian stereotype, like some pizza images. I just press on it and it appears on the screen, so I can move it around, and then actually I can fit it.
Online time is in 10 minutes. Please come online.
Okay. I can actually fit it here on the library. So basically, this is an activity that, for example, when you prepare a youth exchange or you prepare anything that is maybe done in person afterwards, this is the first step that you can use actually to have people talk a little bit about themselves and to have an expression, you know, and to connect with the other people in the group. So this just really to give a very quick example. We've done something similar again this year for our activity with the Italians that we send abroad through the European Solidarity Corps. They are doing their service, European Voluntary Service. And we invited them again this year before Christmas just to share how they were feeling. So we were doing something similar. We invited them to put some pictures of the tasks they were involved in the last weeks, you know, as volunteers all around Europe. And then we also made them up. And then, you know, there is really something that can kick off the conversation. So if you never heard of Mural, we invite you to have a look at it. Said that, I would come back to the plenary and see if there is any one of you that want to share something about your experience with tools. It can be something very known as Zoom, and then we can hear about maybe how you used it, or Twitch, as I said before, or anything else. And also maybe if you feel to share really how it was thought as an intention, you know, so why are you using this tool? What is the scope of it? And or else I'm also gonna pick, so I'm not afraid of speaking. And I have to pick actually an old friend of mine because I see him and he offered me a fantastic beer one time in Belgium, so I'm going to float from Dynamo. And I'm asking him if you want to share. Obviously, you're not forced to, but if you feel to share how you cope with these digital tools and if you use any of the one that we saw before, like if you can briefly really share your experience, and then maybe pick someone after you to share a little bit.
Okay, yes. Hello, Gianluca. Thanks for the mic. Hello, everybody. Okay, what I use some of the tools here you present, but I will put a focus on an activity we made during quarantine. In fact, we were booked to follow the young in what they can do, and the young cannot stay on a computer during hours and just looking the screen, and that's bored them just to follow, because there is all the lesson and school on the screen. So a colleague of mine just think about to cook, but cooking was for some of our young too expensive to buy everything, the egg, the flour, and so we prepare it at Dynamo, just little package. And the young who want to participate just tell us 2 days 2 days before the activity, pass at the association, take the little package, and 2 days after we just everybody connect on Zoom or everyone, and we cook together. And we cook, but the deal was we cooked, but you can keep only half of the result that you cooked, and you bring back the other half to the association. And then the next day we just go to the hospital and offer that to the nurse and the doctors, and just to support them. Just okay, we are with you, but okay, this is what we can bring, and we cannot do anything, but we cooked together. So we make some manual experience, and so every week. Sometimes this is a disaster, we have to say, but but okay, and it's manual, and we practice. Just keep the link. We cook, we make something concrete, but online, and try also to support in our way, okay, the medicine and nurses and everybody in the hospital who is working hard. So that's it. And young also could have something to eat and enjoy their meal. So yeah, this is one thing we do that's not directly online, but kind of activity that, and it was cool. It was pretty fun and pretty cool. But yeah, and I don't know a lot of people here, so I cannot pass the mic to anybody. But I let the mic who want to just share the experience. So.
Thank you very much, Flo. Let's see if there is some hands up that want to share something. By the way, this was a great just a reflection. It was a very cool example because actually it's more of a transformation of something that usually is done together somewhere in a place, in a kitchen, and so it was a great example. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, hybrid experiences indeed. Okay, let's see. Hands up, hands up. Okay, if not, I'm gonna point again. Let's see where my high fall under the name. Let's see the list. Someone wants to share something. I see Loredana there. I don't know if you want to share something. If you have any experience about these sort of digital tools during the pandemic or before actually as well, you feel to share anything.
Hello, everybody. My name is Loredana. I'm from Romania. I'm with Raluca and Gama. I tried, from what I saw from your presentations, I tried, of course, Kahoot and Mentimeter. I think most of us did. Another tool that I like and that I used is Book Creator. I don't know if you used it, but it's a very nice way to be able to create a cooperative ebook on different themes. So this one I think I like most. I tried Genially, but I'm not very good at it yet. But I think this one I like best. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Let's see, let me scroll again the list. Or if there is hands up, I'm happy to give you the floor. Let's see. Well, I'm tempted to go from Ritanofemia, but because I see this big screen, but maybe later, let's see if some of them want to share. Who else? Yeah, maybe I would go to Emiliano. I know he works with a lot of volunteers. If he feels to share, if you're okay with that.
Yes. I mean, we are using different kind of tools. I cannot share the screen, right? So I just have to tell.
You can, I think, if you
I
want.
can. Okay, so I will just show you one that we prepare with an European project a couple of years before pandemic. So after it come quite useful. That is this I prepare online tools that is used for EVS at the time we prepare and ask preparation before send. that is one of the tools we use. And so there are different kind of topics that the volunteer can explore alone and after discuss with the sending organization and the hosting organization. So there are also game and quiz inside. And another one that I like and try during this pandemic is this Gather Town, that it's a sort of a virtual space in a 56-bit graphic that you can move your characters and meet other characters. When you meet another characters, the camera and the sound is activated, so you can speak and chat. But if you move away, you lose the contact with this, like to be in a real room, and you can choose quite a lot of different settings, and you have conference or seasonal, or I don't know, you can see, you can construct your own, you can put video and game inside. So it's very nice for informal meetings. So there was two tools I like to share.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Super cool. Especially the first one. I think that you know, as a general, I think it's the result of a project, right? Or
yeah, it was a
yes.
KA Action 2 project with us, an organization from Hungary and an organization from Czech Republic. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think from that we can also learn that and remind ourselves that we should valorize as much as possible also the tools that are being produced by the organization that, you know, dedicate their work also to volunteers, and like to understand that maybe these platforms are exactly what we are looking for. So we don't need really to create new ones sometimes, or to actually go and try to use a more mainstream one just because they're more famous. So yeah, let's try also to remind this, and yeah, this cross dissemination, as Ilaria is saying. And then yeah, also Gather Town is a very fascinating word. Yeah. So if any of you haven't never heard about them, and also the one that were presented before, have a look at the websites. They were shared here in the chat. Let's see if there is one more, maybe last tool. If there is any of you that feels to present anything, something new, something that we have never heard about, maybe something so like a bit out of the mainstream, again, of the mainstream media. Let's see if somebody wants to still raise up their hand. If not, I will not point fingers anymore. So, Dina, I see somebody that you wrote something to be. Ah, yeah, you sent. Let me see. Wheel of Names. I use it for small groups and when I know the participants beforehand. Do you want to share it? Do you want to share something about your experience with this tool?
No, it is just since you were picking someone from the participants list, so this came on my mind. And when I work with smaller groups, I usually use the Wheel of Names. It has funny music in the end, so you can just randomly pick whomever with it, and it's not like, okay, let's pick from the participants list. And then yeah, I've been probably using the same things that you are most of the time. I especially enjoy Padlet and Jamboard. I think they're very useful for what I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then I also see Gunseli that wrote Nemo TV, never heard, as a live streaming service or a live streaming tool. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, but the new experience, so she needs to know more. So, well, next time we meet or we cross paths, then please share about these tools and any other that you may have discovered this time. And yeah, if you enjoy Padlet, you will enjoy the next step. No spoiler, but Padlet is very famous, so probably many of you know about this tool. And then we can slowly get back into it then. So thank you all for sharing. And if in the next 45 minutes or so before we close up this meeting. If you have any other tool that you think it could be interesting also for the people who are here, please use the chat and share it. So send the link so we can all have a look. Then I would close this part about the tools. And again, thank you for sharing. And I would pass the floor to my colleagues from Gamma, to Raluca. And then we go into a little bit more of, let's say, psychological part. And then we also have time to share later together in smaller groups. So yes, I hope you will also enjoy the next part of the meeting. And thank you very much also for giving some inputs to this part.
Thank you, Gianluca. And hello, everyone. I'm Raluca from Gamma Institute. We are a psychological institute in Romania. And in this beautiful project, Quarantine, we are developing the part of some tips to maintain mental health during a pandemic, and also to try to learn how to enjoy life even if we are in such a challenged situation. And I will share my screen using one of, because it was about tools used in pandemic. I will use Canva, one of my best friends in these times. So we will speak a little bit of how to maintain our joy and mental health in this challenge situation. And of course that in pandemic, we had a lot of subjects to take care of. We had physical health issues, economic issues, jobs to maintain, how to adapt to take care of contacting to the others, and also living our lives. And maybe one of the most hidden parts or forgotten parts is mental health. And what happened during this period of time is that pandemic created like a crisis situation on a micro-social level. What does it mean and how do our mind reacts to it? Is that from a psychological point of view is foreseen as a losing process. And why is this? Because our mind is using predictions in order to take decisions. So I can give you a very basic example. If I'm looking outside and I see that it's a cloudy weather, I make the prediction that it will rain. So I make a decision to take my umbrella with me when I go out from home. So in this case, returning to the pandemic scenario, before pandemic, each of us had a predictable future. So we imagined ourselves in certain scenario, having a profession, having a personal life, having some relations, and enjoying our life and the challenges from daily life. What happened when the pandemic came, it was that this predictable future that our mind was very sure to have it disappeared. So we lost this future that we believed in, and this caused a lot of anxiety, depression, as Rocio also presented, being the results of our research, and also came out with a lot of unpredictable things. These related with also with our daily life made that it is very difficult for us to take decision anymore, because if we think on usual losing process, we know that after a loss, we can integrate it and we can overcome it. But what happens now is that we could overcome this loss of the predictable future we thought about. But nowadays, there is like a loop created in which every time we think that we can take decisions for the future, we lose that scenario because another wave comes and the situation changes a lot. So what is happening right now and what we observed in our work with people, with young people, but not only, is that nowadays on the microsocial level, we are like in a stage of stuck in decisions, and our mind is saying, okay, if I cannot predict any future because I don't know what it should be, I don't take decisions anymore. And maybe you saw and observe in your life or in the life of the youngsters you are working with and people that usually in this period of time, people don't take any more big decisions about their future. And I think this is a point in which we can intervene with our project, but also with our activities, even if it's face-to-face or online, and develop a way in which we can help people to take decision for their future and create a new scenario, even if this could mean to be adapted every time. So what is happening is that the steps that we should do for maintaining our mental health and the joy of life is to think on the decision we make every time. And for this, I would propose you a small exercise. So quarantine and pandemic doesn't interfere with all our daily life. There are certain things that we cannot do it, but there are a lot of things that we can still do it. So what I am asking you now is to think on some questions. For example, if you have a piece of paper in front of you. Yes? Okay, so please, right now, think on 2 things that what COVID situation really stops me to do right now in the present. And now, what can you do, but with adaptations, or do it differently? So you cannot do it as before pandemic, but you could adapt. Another 2 things. Okay. What you cannot do at all? 2 things that you cannot do anymore because of pandemic, but at all, without, there doesn't exist any adaptations to it or solution that you found. Okay. And the last question is, what would be a decision or a new action that would bring you to the past predictable future? I know that past future maybe is not possible in our mind before, but now the future we imagine is a past future. So we need to create a new future. So what would be 2 actions or new decisions to do in order to return on your goals before pandemic, but with different actions? Done. And now, because I like a lot the exercises and sharing, I would kindly ask Ilaria to split you in several breakout rooms. And what you have to do in the breakout rooms is to discuss about what you thought. So mainly you discuss about how did pandemic affected you, and especially the new future that you are thinking now about. This new thing that you want now to bring in your life in order to overcome the challenges that pandemic brought. So you have kind of 15 minutes to share in groups, and after that we will return in the big group and share some conclusions and extract 3 main key points and tips that we could do for improve our mental health, and more than that, to return to the joy of life. So Ilaria, you can split it.
One second, I'm preparing the rooms. One second.
So until Ilaria is preparing the rooms, please add to your list another great decision you want to do for your new future.
So there should be rooms of 4. If there is somebody who has problems in entering the rooms, let me know. And meanwhile, I will stop the live stream so that now the contents are delivered and people who are following from streaming are now having all the materials in case to find out more about the project. And we stop the streaming so that the people who take part in the webinar can also have their time to reflect with the group. Thank you very much for following.